One of the open sores here on Brennan is how did he do and his intelligence community, how did they manage to pull off this spying operation without leaving a paper trail that could have been easily found by conservative investigative journalists who were doing real reporting? Where is the paper trail? Folks, Obama knew about Spygate. You're like, oh, well, we knew that. I know you knew that. But there's been a big open sore. Why am I talking about this now? Well, John Durham, the United States attorney who's looking into the whole Spygate affair and debacle, he has recently turned his attention, and this became a story last week while we're bringing it up now again. He has turned his attention to John Brennan. You saw the story in the New York Times we covered last week. Brennan is now a target. I believe Brennan is sweating big time for a number of reasons. I believe Brennan knew. I believe Brennan misled the FBI and Harry Reid and the Democrats into opening up an investigation based on Steele's information. Brennan misled them into believing that it was based on sound intelligence. It wasn't. It was garbage. It was all political oppo research. Brennan just wanted Trump and his team investigated. That's not giving any of them a pass, as I've said many times, talking about the FBI and Harry Reid. I believe they were knowingly misled. They wanted to be misled, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But one of the open sores here on Brennan is how did he do and his intelligence community, how did they manage to pull off this spying operation without leaving a paper trail that could have been easily found by conservative investigative journalists who were doing real reporting? Where is the paper trail? How did they do it and avoid the paper trail? This has been an open question. Paula, you know how? Do you remember? It's a good question, right? I can see she's interested in this one. This is what I think Durham may be looking at. And if he's not, he probably should. Let's go back to an older piece by Lee Smith from 2018 in Tablet Mag. Again, be up in the show notes. This is from 2018, March 13th. Lee Smith, Bob Mueller's Beltway cover-up. It's in the show notes again, Bongino.com/newsletter. Subscribe. I'll send these I'll email them to you every day. The best part about our newsletter is it's older articles that are evergreen. I can't tell you this stuff. I dig these things up because I remember them. And I remembered this piece by Lee Smith. And I thought, this is probably where Barr and Durham are going and why Brennan's in a lot of trouble. How did they breach the firewall, use the National Security Council for intelligence information on politics, not on national security, and wind up covering their tracks? Where are the whistleblowers? How come there's not this paper trail? How come people aren't coming forward going, I was asked to do this and I was asked to do that. I was asked to query this database by Brennan, CIA, and all these people. Where are these people? This is where this gets fascinating. Let's pull up the first screenshot from Lee Smith's piece. Listen to this one. This is in the piece. If you want to read it yourself, I'll read it for you at home. Quote, coincidentally, the owner of the Washington Post has a major stake in letting Mueller do his work to preserve America's surveillance and spying complex. Listen to this, folks. It's important. In 2013, the same year, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos bought the paper that broke Watergate for $250 million. Amazon Web Services landed a $600 million deal with the U.S. intel community. According to a 2017 Washington Post story, Amazon Web Services created a, quote, cloud storage service designed to handle classified information for U.S. spy agencies, including the CIA. The cloud technology was to, quote, usher in a new era of cooperation and coordination, allowing agencies to share information and services much more easily. But well, very well said, Joe. Yeah. Well. So now we know Susan Rice is the national security advisor to Barack Obama, runs the National Security Council. There was apparently a breach into the abuse of the National Security Council, a breach of a firewall where they're not supposed to be used for political purposes, but they were. There were unmaskings and the gathering of intel from that National Security Council and the intel agencies associated with it providing intelligence so they can make national security decisions. And we've always wondered how the heck the paper trail and the footprints got kind of, wiped them out so you can't see where we were walking from. We now know, thanks to the great reporting of Lee Smith too, I remembered this article. I'm telling you, this is what Brennan, he's in a world of trouble. That the CIA, that Amazon Web Services was managing this cloud service where the CIA could keep some information and use for the transferring of information. Stay right there. This is going to tie it all together. Here's the second portion of Lee Smith's piece, which is going to blow your mind. The NSA database, quote from the piece, with its large and ongoing collection of electronic communications, Joe, can be accessed through the NSA's cloud, one former senior intelligence official told Lee Smith. So the NSA, folks, has its own cloud that can be accessed by these NSA folks, and it's ongoing, the updating of it, all right? It goes on. The NSA can audit that cloud and find out if analysts are violating the rules. In other words, searching the massive databases the government has and shouldn't, right? There's an audit trail, Joe. Piece goes on again. The NSA, however, does not audit the CIA's cloud, which is audited by the CIA's IT people, run by John Brennan at the time, and Amazon Web Services employees who are given security clearances. This former Intel official told Lee Smith, quote, there are people in the CIA and the Office of the DNI and the National Security Council staff who can move information from the NSA cloud, which is audited, by the way, into the CIA cloud, not independently audited. That seems the likeliest scenario to explain how Obama officials first unmasked U.S. persons, in other words, spied in their phone calls, and then shared information without leaving a trail that could be audited independently or immediately at every step. Since unmasking by itself is authorized for lawful purposes, it's the processing and sharing, as with Susan Rice's spreadsheets we just talked about, that tell us if the information was being misused. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is one gem of a story, and by gem I mean a flaming pile of horse manure. Is that what's going on right now? That the information they were looking at, the NSA had access on, the Trump team phone calls, the unmaskings, the Trump team texts, the Trump team emails, that it's stored in this NSA cloud. This NSA cloud, however, being run by, obviously the NSA at the time director was Mike Rogers, who I believe to be a decent guy. I don't want to say a good guy or bad guy, but a guy who was at one point very concerned about what was happening with the NSA database. How do we know that? Because he complained to the FISA court that there were abuses going on. So we at least have Rogers taking a stand at some point, right, Joe? Now we have information that the National Security Council, according to this intelligence official, had the authority to move from an audited cloud, the NSA, over to the CIA cloud where it was under the custody of John Brennan. Ladies and gentlemen, that could be a big problem if that's where this spreadsheet information came from that Susan Rice was compiling, a CIA cloud. Now, I'm sure there's a paper trail in the CIA that was probably covered up a bit by John Brennan, but it's not going to be entire. There's always going to be forensic footprints left behind. Is that where Susan Rice was getting this from? And if Susan Rice was getting this information from these spreadsheets from Brennan or Intel people, how did Obama not know?
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.